Hello and welcome to the Husky Talk, the MMA Report. I am your host, the best podcast host in the universe, Steve Cully. And with me, as always, my cohort and counterpart. All he does, he trains, he teaches class, he beats that ass, and then he sometimes pounds it too. Tyler. Well, you don't always pound it. Sometimes it depends what kind of mood you're in.
Depends on it for training or dating too, you know.
Right. So we have a lot going on in the world of MMA. A big UFC card coming up this weekend.
Really?
But we wanted to start by ESPN had an interesting article that was put up in regards to some trades and some kind of fantasy booking of matches and whatnot. The first one was about Jon Jones and saying that he will fight Tom Aspinall and then retire. I think that that's a little bit out there, considering he's only had a few matches, a few bouts, a few fights as a heavyweight. He would now unify the heavyweight title, and then he would just retire. Does that make sense to you?
So we gotta look at the long and short of this. First of all, Jon Jones has been competing in the UFC since his early 20s, number one. Number two,
Yes.
he became champion beating MMA royalty in Shogun Hua. Then, as he defended the light heavyweight belt, I forget how many times, but he has the record for most consecutive title defenses in UFC
He does.
history.
Yes.
The slate of fighters he defended that title against is a who's who of mixed martial arts royalty. Guys like
He's never lost. Yep.
guys like Shogun Hua, Rampage Jackson, Lyoto Machida, and more. He's beaten like some of the best guys of his era.
Daniel Cormier.
Daniel Cormier, best rivalry in MMA history.
Loved it.
So he has gone ahead. Honestly, the two fights he's had at heavyweight, Cyril Gahn, nobody's fool, just a complete steamrolling. Stipe Miocic, the general consensus, heavyweight GOAT, and John just dismantled.
He dismantled him. Yeah, he took care of him.
So at this point, John's 37 years old. He's on the downside of one of the most storied careers in UFC history.
But you wouldn't say he's lost a step, would you?
Father Time is undefeated.
I know.
I would generally say no, he has not lost a step. And when I train with Jon Jones, I have never felt so useless in my life.
Yeah, you couldn't do anything. Yeah.
I couldn't do it. With that being said,
you might as well have been a doll.
Pretty much. With that being said, I wasn't trying to leg lock him, but he does MMA, not jiu-jitsu. So if I tried to leg lock him in an MMA fight, I'd get my face smashed very badly. Now, with all of that being said, Jon could retire now, right off in the sunset, and all of us as fans, it is what it is. He's the GOAT. Done. But to take on a young, hungry, super athletic, super capable, and downright scary heavyweight in Tom Aspinall, it's such an intriguing fight because Aspinall, for the most part, has not been challenged yet. He's fought all the guys in the top 5, and he's disposed of them I think the longest was Curse Blades. I think that was a second round knockout. I could be wrong. It could have been a first round knockout. But if the longest he's gone in a UFC fight is into the second round and they've all been knockout finishes, what can you say except this is a true challenger for the undisputed heavyweight crown? And with that, it's John's like on the downside. He's on the back nine of a storied career. Tom
Yeah,
Aspinall
you're right.
on like the fifth hole right now, and he's just been murking guys. If Tom Aspinall fights Jon Jones, is a deserved title shot, and Tom Aspinall has a resume. And he's been super exciting, so it's a great fight. And if John wins that, the only fight left for him would most likely be Alex Poatan Paella, and that would probably have to
Exact.
be at like 8. So if John wants to retire after that, have at it, brother. I personally think him and Paella should fight something like a catch weight of 225. But again, John could beat Aspinall and he'd be fully justified. Right off in the sunset, unified title. Thanks, guys. It's been real.
Yeah, no, I agree. And he's made a ton of money. Is he somewhat that you could see like some of the other guys taking a boxing match?
No,
That's
absolutely.
not his style because he's a
It
wrestler.
would. There's no need for him to do that because he's at the point in his UFC career where he's getting paid very handsomely, and the rumors right now, and again, these are only rumors, that they're throwing out a base pay between 50 and 30 million for the Aspinall fight. So again,
They're trying to make it worth his while.
the money situation, he fights Aspinall, makes a base between 50 and 30 before he even talks about the pay per view numbers.
Yeah, you're right.
He's all good. Money wise, after the Aspinall fight, regardless of any troubles he may or may not have had monetarily, after the Aspinall fight, with that kind of money, it it makes no. He doesn't need to fight again. He might. He's the kind of guy that has a place in his mind and his heart for legacy, but he has no need to take another fight after breaking the bank fighting Aspinall.
No,
And the thing we
I
have
agree
to
with you.
think, the other thing we have to think about, the Aspinall fight is no walk in the park. I
No,
personally,
not at all.
I would pick Jon Jones to win that fight all day, every day. But Tom Aspinall is a dangerous heavyweight striker and much younger than John. So the deck's already stacked a little bit against John, but we will see if that fight happens.
The other news that came out had to do with Francis Ngannou. Now, basically, PFL doesn't have any challengers to really test him, and that's been a concern. So they have mentioned possibly allowing Ngannou to take a boxing match against Anthony Joshua. Do you think that would be the right move?
Say Anthony Joshua or was it Deontay Wilder?
I'm sorry, Deontay Wilder.
Okay.
He already fought Joshua. Yes,
Did.
and he already fought Tyson Fury. So Deontay Wilder is really the last of the greatest boxers around, unless you're going to go with Fury's brother or he wants to do something with a Logan Paul or Jake Paul.
Fury's brother fights a lower weight class.
Right. So he'd never be able to make that.
And
but
yeah, Tyson Fury just retired too, so
Oh, he did.
Yes, he did. Tyson
Oh, okay. I
Fury.
did not know that. So, what will they do with the belt? Will they just have like a unification match between the top ranked opponents for it?
Well, if this comes to pass, as far as his mixed martial arts belt ain't going anywhere. He'll stay the undisputed heavyweight champion at PFL as they have another tournament to go. I think, uh, yeah, they have another tournament. I think that he either has a challenger in waiting, or they're gonna wait for the next tournament to conclude before his next challenger is announced. So I actually like that for both these guys. Deontay just got knocked out by probably the scariest Chinese man I've ever seen ever. It was kind of a brutal knockout. Um, and like I said, and like we've Francis got knocked out by Joshua in his last fight, and you know, I personally think, uh, I think Francis would gets better with Deontay in that fight. Um, it'll be a slugfest. I wouldn't expect it to go beyond the fifth round. I feel like one of those guys would be going to sleep. And honestly, I think uh, after showing versus Tyson Fury, I think it would be I think Francis would really work on his technical aspect of his boxing and just look to set up those power shots. And Deontay's been through some wars. He just lost his last fight, the trilogy with Tyson Fury. He took a lot of
He
damage.
did. He took a ton of damage.
I mean, I like to see this because it'll be a really nice payday for Deontay. But after this, he has no reason to fight again. And it makes a lot of sense physically and for physically for both PFL and Francis. And as far as the progression of opponents, makes a lot of sense for Francis. So I'm all in on this. I would love to see it. It'll make no difference on the MMA side of things, but that'll definitely make some money for both the PFL and for Francis Ngannou.
Is there any chance that Jon Jones fights Aspinall, unifies the titles, retires, and then fights Francis Ngannou?
No, just because when he retires, the UFC will still hold his rights.
Hold his rights, right?
Or
So if he wants MMA, he would have to go through them, and
go
there's
through,
no way they're cross promoting.
yes. And honestly, John's not gonna fight in a PFL. And again, this
No,
is I'm not trying to talk negatively about PFL,
no.
but the UFC is the top dog when it comes to spectacle promotion visibility in mixed martial arts. And unless the PFL's got some Saudi investors that really don't give an F about money, I don't know if they'll be able to come up with a number that would make John even consider anything like that. On top of the fact, the UFC holds his rights, so they have
Yeah,
to
they'd have to convince Dana
let
White.
them come up with an astronomical amount of money to buy that contract out. Ain't happening.
I wonder how many fights is he fight to fight with his contract right now, or does he have a set number? You think?
I think it. I don't know, but I've heard he. I know he has at least two fights left on his UFC contract, but again, we'll see.
Off topic, I had wanted to ask you because you're a Patriots fan. Were you surprised that they fired Gerard Mayo?
No.
No, you weren't. You weren't surprised at all.
Do you? I don't know if you've been paying attention. Do you know what happened late yesterday?
Well, I know they hired Vrabel. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it was all. I think. Yes, exactly. I think it was always Mike Vrabel was always the guy, and Gerard's just kind of a placeholder. I personally, like, again, it's speculation, but I have a feeling that Kraft approached Vrabel at the end of,
Regardless,
yeah, he approached Vrabel last season, I believe. I would bet he approached Vrabel, and Vrabel said, "Hey, this is my first. Like, I'm gonna take the year off. I'm missing time with my family. Like, if you're not gonna hire me, I'll apply for other job opportunities. I'm not gonna get this year back with my family. I think he had mindset. He's gonna take a year off, spend time with his family, and then get back to coaching this year. And I think Gerard was just kind of the guy that was there that could fill the spot, and it didn't help matters that it kind of turned into a F show throughout.
well, he
And
didn't take the year off. He worked as an analyst for the Browns. He didn't travel to away games or anything, but
he worked as an analyst. And
well,
like,
yeah, I know.
that was a part-time job. That's a
Yeah, it
part
was
right there.
pretty much. Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
All right, I was just curious on your thoughts. We were looking.
I will say I am very excited as a Patriots fan for Mike Vrabel as head coach. And
I would agree with you.
Patriots players, pucker your buttholes.
I agree with you, and I think it'll be good for Drake May. But I just wanted because I know you're a Patriots fan, your opinion. The UFC 311 card, the pay-per-view is this weekend, and it looks to be a decent one. Starting, yes, the main card. The first match on the main card is a middleweight bout between a friend of yours, Kevin Holland, and Rainer de Riddier in middleweight action. How do you see this one playing out?
So, Rainer de Riddier, I'm looking at my notes right now. He has one fight in the UFC.
Wow.
Of Gerard Misharat. Before that, he was the 1FC light heavyweight champion and the 1FC middleweight champion. 1FC is easily the third best promotion in the world. He was a
really
2 weight class champion in that. Now, Kevin Holland, nobody's fool, nobody's bitch. But this is a very tough fight. Like this will be a pretty
it's a good matchup.
Step up in competition for what's his name? Gerard? Is it Gerard? Oh,
Rainer de Ridder.
And Kevin Holland, absolute beast, absolute dog. But I do think this is kind of a nod to all the international expansion that the UFC is very much in the past several years. They identify the best guys in the rival promotions, and
they are.
They swoop in, offer a giant signing bonus, and generally sign these guys. So I think Rainer is one of the top guys. Was until he went to the UFC, one of the top guys outside the UFC. So he's one of the guys they're investing in. Kevin Holland, not exactly a do or die fight for him, but very important fight for the rest of his career. But I would go with Rainer in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think they put him in that position so he would have success and work his way up. I think that's why they gave him Kevin Holland. And Kevin Holland, like you said, is no walk in the park, but their expectations are for Rainer to come out victorious.
This is fully a gatekeeper fight.
Yes.
A fight to see if Rainer can beat the gatekeeper.
Now, this is interesting. A light heavyweight bout. Ranked number 2 is Yuri and ranked number 3 is Jamal Hill. Where do you see that one going? 2 versus 3. That's a pretty good matchup.
No, I see this as the Enigma
Because
versus.
wasn't Yuri a champion at one point?
Both these guys have been champion. Yuri's been
Yes.
champion.
Yes.
Kevin's been champion. And then Jamal, like, tried to talk a bunch of shit. Excuse me, bunch of ish to a Peloton and got his ass knocked the F out. And Yuri, again, Yuri was, dude, Yuri is a beast, but he got knocked cold by Peloton. So these guys
Right.
are basically fighting for a shot title right now.
Do you think
Personally,
they deserve a title shot, even though they both got knocked out?
the winner
Oh,
of the fight,
okay.
100% deserves a title shot.
They'll get a rematch.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. But
Okay.
this is all right. This fight, excuse me, to me plays out as okay, Gary. What do you got? Like, Gary, you've been up and down. If you come back and just crush Jamal Hill, he gets title shot. We'll see what happens. Jamal been on this extended crying tour after getting knocked out by Peloton. This is all right, Jamal. We've been talking all that shit about how good you are. You deserve this. You deserve that. Go be Gary. Shows you deserve a rematch for the title. And honestly, I think Jamal Hill is the biggest crybaby in this sport. He's also the fakest tough guy in this sport. Bro, he was at the UFC PI. He went up to Peloton like just talking. You know what Peloton did? Peloton took a pair of gloves, threw him at his feet, and said, "Let's go." You know what Jamal did? Walked out like a little butthurt, just coward bitch. Like, you want to talk that junk, act like you're about it, and then homie throws the gloves at you, and you walk out like, "Oh, you didn't do anything, bro." You are such a fake, whiny, douchebag tough guy. Like, I think Yuri's gonna beat the brakes off him. That's what I think. Jamal's good, but he's such a mental midget, such an excuse maker that I think Yuri's gonna crack him. And Jamal, I feel like Jamal probably has been training the way he needs to. I think he let all the success he's had get to his head, and then wanted to cry about it. Oh, I didn't get a good restart. Bro, this game is called Protect Yourself at all times. You touch gloves, Ruffy said go, you get your hands up, you be ready. And sorry you got outthwarted, outfoxed. You took one on the chin, you got knocked the F out. Shut up and get better. Don't make excuses. This fight is all Yuri.
Okay, I'll go with that. I like Yuri as well.
Excuse my rant, people. Excuse my rant, everybody. But Jamal Hill is softer than baby diarrhea.
Baby diarrhea. Baby diarrhea. Wow, that's quite
It's
that
soft.
is quite the that is quite the comparison right there. He's
That's
softer than baby diarrhea.
soft.
Um okay, well, I mean, there's not a lot you can do if you're soft. So, unfortunately for him,
Hey,
I feel bad that he's soft and he's softer than
like,
baby
here's
poop.
the thing. Like, we're lying if we're not going to acknowledge that he's tough. He has skills. He has championship experience.
Of course he does, but he's softer than
But
baby poop.
but this extended crying tour after you got knocked out and making excuse after excuse
And
after excuse. That is like that is softer than baby excrement.
okay. All right, I'll take it. I'll take it, Tyler. You win the gold medal on that one.
Well, thank you.
That's funny. That's what you call them. Another lightweight bout, 9 versus 10. Beneil Darche versus Renato Moicano. Did I say that right?
Holy shit, you got that name right.
Wow. Well, it's only taken.
Right. By the way,
it's
Beneil Darche and Renato Money Moicano.
I like it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot.
I love this fight. It's the boy. I will brand this fight the boar versus the gore.
The boar versus the gore.
The boar being Beneil Darche. Now, while I say boring, Beneil Darche is an accomplished fighter. He is one of those guys that just can't get out of there. He looks like he's a million. He just keeps coming, keeps coming, keeps coming. But his fights aren't overly exciting. Unfortunately.
I got you. Okay.
But with Renato Money Moicano, the avid conservative, the avid work hard, get paid, be exciting guy, and my God, he's one of the few Brazilians in this sport that understands the evils of socialism and the value of being exciting. Yo,
okay.
Beat the bag, finish his opponent, got in the cage, threw his cross on. It said, F socialism. Socialism is bullshit, is BS. I love Trump. Trump's gonna fix everything. I
like it. I like it. I like it.
So, and this is the guy that's lived in Brazil, grew up in Brazil, sees the things that socialism is doing to his country, and champions our president. God bless Moannou Moicano. And not to mention, one of the few ground strikers, ground specialists rather, in the UFC that is exciting as it happens. He wants to put you on the ground, but he wants to beat your ass and finish you.
Just like you want to beat that ass.
You got that right.
You beat that ass and you pound it, and that's what he wants to do.
Depends on the circumstances, Mr. Cully. But in case you didn't notice, I'm picking Money Moicano in this fight.
I agree. I know nothing about Beneil Darche, but the way you describe the other guy, I think he'll eat his lunch. Now
I don't know if he'll eat his lunch. Like, that's the thing about Beneil Darche. He hangs in there. He is nobody's fool.
Yeah.
He's tough, but this is gonna be no.
You said he's boring. You said he's boring.
Yes, but he will survive.
Right.
So Money's gonna need to finish him with a really good submission, or knock him silly with ground and pound, or Beneil will survive, and Beneil will hang around.
All right, so the two big title bouts on the fight. We have the bantamweight title bout with your boy Merab. He's the champion, and
I watch him turn undefeated fighters.
I know.
God. I've watched him turn an undefeated pro fighter into a priest. I have seen this. Fuck it.
And he's fighting Umar Nurmagomedov, which is Khabib's cousin, correct? Yeah. And Khabib is also considered the GOAT. So I think this is going to be a little bit more of a challenge than you would expect. Merab's not going to have a walk in the park over Nurmagomedov.
So you look at this, Merab. So Merab's from the Republic of Georgia. Umar is from Dagestan. Both super elite, super heavy style as far as wrestling.
And they're tough as nails.
So the way I kind of see this playing out is I feel like this is one of those instances where Umar won't have the clear cut decided wrestling advantage. I feel like the wrestling here between Marab and Umar will kind of cancel each other out. So I see this turning into a striking battle. With that being said, I feel like Marab is just a better striker. So I see Marab winning this in not exactly a textbook, super tactical striking battle, but Marab is good enough and better than Umar as far as striking is concerned. So I see the wrestling kind of cancel each other out. I see Marab beating him with striking, either winning a decision or finishing him.
Okay. Wow. That one I did not expect. But yeah, I know you're a big Marab fan. So Marab retains here. And that's a huge victory for him. And then, Nurmagomedov is number 2. So there is no clear-cut challenger for Marab at the bantamweight. Is there anyone you see on his fight list coming up next? That comes to mind off the top of your head?
I am actually looking right now for the top 10, but for the most part, I don't see anyone really challenging Marab unless you get some sort of dynamic striker with good wrestling. Honestly, looking at the rankings, the only guys I really see that the one guy I see that I think should get a shot, and I have to look at if he's coming off a win or not, is Peter Yan. I think Peter Yan would be a great fight. But Peter has to get through Days and
Right.
Figueredo. But he gets through Days and Figueredo. I think Peter Yan's next.
Okay. So the main event, the lightweight title bout, Islam versus Arman. I'm not going to try to pronounce their last names. What can you tell me about them? He is the number 1 ranked contender for the champion. Do you see this going 5 rounds? Do you see this being a battle? Do you see this being a bloodbath? And do you see this topping off just an incredible card?
So, looking at this fight, Arman, I'm looking, I could be wrong here. I'm just looking at his Wikipedia page, but it doesn't seem that Arman has much of a wrestling background. He was born into an Armenian family. He grew up in a small town in the Republic of Georgia, right on the Armenian border. But I'm looking at it. Arman played ice hockey in his youth. He wasn't a wrestler. So I don't see him being able, excuse me, being able to combat Islam's superb next level wrestling. I think this fight doesn't get out of third round. I think Islam takes him down, smashes him. Takedown, smash. Takedown,
Just like that.
I think Islam is going to smash Arman.
Just like that. Wow. Okay. What round do you think?
Personally, second, early third, probably.
Second or early third. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, we talked about Conor McGregor, and he is fighting Logan Paul in India. Do you believe that I mean, you had said this. You think McGregor's going to knock the hell out of Jake Paul? Or Logan Paul, whatever one it is.
I do. I think one of the big keys in this fight will be how strict is this drug testing going to be? If we get a jacked up Connor coming in at 175, 180 pounds, first of all, I don't care what anybody on any platform says. Conor McGregor, he hits you with that left hand, you are in a world of trouble. And even watching Jake, what's Logan Paul's big claim to fame in boxing? I went to a decision with Floyd Mayweather. Floyd carried him in that fight, and
he did.
Logan several times, like, got all, like, what's the word I'm looking for? He connected solid once or twice.
He was flailing. He looked like he was flailing.
Like, they did a bunch of flailing.
Yes.
I think Connor is going to come out. That left-hand stance. I believe Logan's a right-hand fighter. So you're a righty fighting a lefty. You have to watch out. Like that lead straight left is a problem when you're an orthodox fighter fighting a southpaw. And I tell you what, Conor McGregor connects on that straight left. I don't care who you are. I don't care how big those gloves are. You are in trouble. So, if we're not looking at world-class, airtight drug testing, we get juicy Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
It could be a tough night for Logan Paul. But at the end of the day, they're both getting paid very handsomely for this.
Very handsomely, so yes.
Fight.
Right.
But, gun to my head, if we have lax drug testing and juicy Connor, I think Connor's going to knock him out.
All right. Well, I have to thank our sponsors at Parseghian Partners. They're one of the top 50 fastest growing companies in the nation. We will show you an advertisement right after this, along with Pete Finch and the Finch Law Firm. We love Pete Finch. You will hear from him. Green Street Trust International, owned and operated by Rennell Jump. They offer a variety of services, but they specialize in tax planning. You have to go to their website, greenstreettrust.com, and schedule your free tax strategy session. He will save you thousands upon thousands of dollars, or he will get you a return. Green Street Trust International is the best of the best. Make sure you go to them and utilize them. Dynamic Human Performance is owned and operated by UConn legendary running back Andre Dixon. We will show you an advertisement right after this. And then finally, we have Julius Trenches Williams. Julius Trenches Williams and the Trench Mob. We have an advertisement to show you right after this. So thank you to all of our sponsors for contributing. We would not be where we are without you, and we are grateful for all of your support. So for Tyler King, excellent predictions. What's going to happen with the unified heavyweight title in UFC? what's going to happen with Francis Ngannou taking a boxing match with Deontay Wilder, and your predictions for UFC 311 were spot on. So we will absolutely see what happens.
We will see if they were spot on.
No, I think you're spot on with them. I think they're pretty accurate. Merab wasn't the guy who threw the double back fist, was he?
No, that was Shara Bullet.
Okay, because that was the greatest thing I ever saw in my life. So I just wanted to make that clear.
Bullet, blind in one eye, destroying everybody.
It was amazing. It was amazing. So for the MMA report, Husky Talk, the MMA report with Tyler King, all he does is train. He teaches class and he beats that ass. Tyler King.
Buddy.
Thank you. And he pounds ass occasionally. He likes to pound it. And myself, Steve Cully, the best podcast host in the universe. Remember, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges.